Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Laura Rancourt.
And I am Kim Crumbly. And together we are Counselor Accents, two school counselors who are in the trenches with you.
We know what you're going through because we're living it every single day. How are you?
I am still on my iPad because I love the iPad now.
Okay. Well,
I don't know how it sounds, but I love it.
I'm just hoping that my sound is better than it has been.
We're always fighting the sound battle.
We are. But it's this palatial mansion that I'm in right now.
Oh.
It has very high ceilings, and so the sound just keeps traveling. And Lauren Tingle, she tried to help me, and she gave me some pointers on how to fix the sound, but not working. But I appreciate your effort.
It's the bane of our existence is sound.
We've gotten microphones.
Is that a word? The bane of your existence, right?
It is. Yeah. To you, how does the sound sound?
Well, I am not picky. I'm not a picky sound person, except for I'd like for other people to enjoy it. But your voice grates on my nerves anyway.
So there's that. That's one strike.
So there's that.
I can't fix that. I mean, I guess I could talk lower.
I love it when you talk lower. Do it.
I'm not. But I did have a conversation with my principal in my low voice the other day, and she enjoyed it.
Good. It is like astounding how low you can go. It's like Oak Ridge Boys, papa, papa. Low.
I didn't even go as low as I can go. There's a whole other level than I went with my principal. So
I just would like to know, can you do a low singing voice?
That is worth exploring.
Because I keep wanting you to sing with me because you know that I'm an excellent singer.
Yeah.
But and I know your sister can raise the roof off of a place. So I just feel like it's in you.
My sister and I when we talk, we sound so similar. So I would think that I would be able to sing like she does.
But you really can't? Or you just are?
I don't know where she goes in her voice pouch.
Follicles.
I don't know where
what is she pulling out to do that? I don't know.
I don't know. And people say, well, you sing from your diaphragm. I don't know what that is. Like
Where is the diaphragm? Like, exactly. And how do you find it? Like if you're singing, like, okay, there it's coming from the lung. Oh, no, it's rolled over in an ovary. We're up around the shoulder blade. I mean, how do you know? Oh, there it is. The diaphragm.
There it is.
I don't know. I will tell you today that somebody said something very funny at my table when we had something going today with different schools, and I got very tickled, if you will. And I was laughing in my man voice, which always, if I'm really, really, really tickled, I go,
You do.
I know. But it's just started. I think it's become a habit now.
Okay.
Because it started out being fun, and now I just laugh like a man. Well, but as you get older, your voice deepens. So pretty soon, I may just be graveling out here anyway, like I've been smoking a pack a day. I don't know.
See, and I feel like my voice is changing, and I have thought, is it because we do this podcast? Is it because we're talking a little bit more than the average cat? I don't know. But
I know you didn't just say the average cat, like you are some kind of 70s. Hey, cat. Hey, cool cat.
Cool cat.
What was that? I mean, I've never heard you say that.
Well, I didn't know what else to say.
Okay.
So anyway.
You're a voice chameleon. Like you are. Like it's just according to the mood you're in too. You're the fun. I mean, you can be in that proper mood and it's greetings. And then you can be in like Southern, I don't know, and then you go into your man voice. I'm not even getting started on your dolphin call. So I don't know what you do with your voice.
Well, right now, I feel like it is hitting some level. Like I'll be out on Carline and they'll say, hey, we need Victoria. So I'll start to yell Victoria! And my voice breaks like I'm a 12-year-old boy going through puberty. I don't know what it is.
You probably are talking more than usual.
Maybe. So
I think that's what it is.
I'm a little concerned. And it's like
You're concerned. I went yesterday with my eyeball throbbing out of my head.
Yeah,
I thought I had some kind of tumor. What?
That's been a whole thing for a while now.
It has been a thing for a while. But yet they've given me a shot of steroid, and they said it was a blocked sinus.
I hope that we just heard a collective groan as our listeners processed what you just said. Because
exactly.
God, that sounds so painful. And when I told my husband about it last night, he did the grimace, just like I did when you told me, like the ugh. And like you can feel it behind your eye whenever you say
it's behind my eyeball. What my sinus is blocked with, I don't know. What does the sinus get blocked with? I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Is there a chance you will be excreting the blockage from some orifice?
The plan is, and now you've reminded me that I did not take my medication. I got to go take my medication. I got to get up, go take my medication.
Take your back pill.
Take my back pill. But I don't know. They say that once it breaks loose, it will. But right now, I'm fine. So do I want it to break loose? That's the problem.
Oh, well, if it comes out, can you save it for our listeners so we can show it off?
I will. I will let everybody know. Is it a marble? Did I swallow a coin? I don't know what it is.
What could it be?
I don't know, but I felt better today. Of course, when you get a good steroid, you're going to feel like you're a squirrel climbing the roof. So I don't know.
I can't wait until you hit that level because we could get some serious work done. If we could be on a steroid at the same time, we'll go to a hotel room and just work.
I tell you, it is wonderful to have that much energy.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm bottoming out. I think I'm hitting the bottom. I don't know.
Okay.
But you know how you think you're better, and then you get off that a couple of days after they give you the shot, and you're like, no, I'm not well. So I'm hoping that's not. I'll let everybody know because I know everybody's concerned. Thank you for your well wishes.
Well, and if you need any antibiotic, I have tons of unused antibiotics.
Please do not report that. Do not say that. Do not say that. You are like a medicine chest over there.
All right. Well, we have a different kind of episode today. We are going to be answering some of the questions that you all send us all in one episode. So we love it when you guys email us some questions, and we probably give you bad advice, but now we're going to give everybody bad advice, right?
That's good. That's perfect.
So you're not the only one. We're equitable with our bad advice. Everybody's getting fearful and bad
advice. We're not just throwing that word around. We are really being equitable with our bad advice.
Yes. Okay. So this episode is called "What Do I Do If?" And so the first question is, what do I do if I accepted a job and I hate it? Let me throw out a disclaimer right here because my principal listens to these episodes. I love my job. I'm not talking about my job. So let me just say that this is a question. I will actually show you the message in our inbox so that you know this was a question that was written to us.
Well played, my friend. They'll never guess this came from you.
Okay, so if you accepted a job and you hate it, what would you say?
Okay, so if I accepted a job and I hated it, without knowing who this is or the backstory or anything, but my first thoughts would be how long have you had it? Because sometimes it's really I've been in situations where after a period of time has passed, I got acclimated and felt more comfortable and part of and enjoyed it. But if it's just a situation that is, life is too short to be somewhere where you're that miserable. So only that person could answer that. But it might be that if she hates it and it's making her depressed, or, again, find something that you enjoy doing. And if she loves being a counselor, there are other, schools can be so different and districts can be so different. And you have to kind of find one that you can feel that you feel a part of.
I agree. And I also agree that, we don't have all the context here. So we don't know if this person was a counselor before. So what breaks my heart for school counseling is when I see and we hear from first year school counselors who get into this job and maybe they have a bad placement and they say, I cannot work in education anymore. This job is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm out. That makes me so sad because, you and I, we have tough days, but I still would say this is the best job ever.
Absolutely. We love our jobs.
Yeah. And so, one of my thoughts is I've been through a lot of tough seasons in my life that I knew had an expiration date. I was getting my counseling degree. That was a tough time, but I knew, okay, this is seasonal for 2 years and then it'll be over. So I guess I would ask you, could you give yourself until the end of the year and then see what else is out there and see, just kind of compare places maybe?
Yeah.
I would wonder if this person is stuck in the rotation, which we're against. And I know some people like the rotation, but we are not those people. And if that's it and you're missing out on other school counselor duties, maybe have your annual admin conference and use your use of time analysis to show that you're really heavy on the classroom lessons because you're doing the specials rotation, and you could be better used, not cutting those out completely, but just also focusing on small groups or individual counseling or whatever else you would like to be using your time to do to run your program effectively. So I guess I would just ask, I would want to unpack that a little bit more, maybe on why this person is so miserable. Maybe it is a toxic work environment. And a lot of times that is not worth sticking around.
Exactly. I think that's the key. I do think that counselors are happier when they have more autonomy to create a program, and I think they're the best judge of how they can work their program to best meet a data-driven program that meets the needs of the students. But I think so many administrators or the powers that hire don't really understand what a school counselor's job should be or is. And if it's a place that will not allow you to help build that program or to tell them what that's supposed to look like, and they're just using you to meet the best, makes it easier for their job or the teachers, but not necessarily what's best for the kids. I think that would, to me, would be, I'm out. If I can't do what's best for the kids and have autonomy to do that, and to build that program based on data and the needs. And I think that's what a real, I think that would be I'm out. And that toxic work environment too it's life's too short. So only that person can answer those questions. And I'm so sorry that you're going through this. And I say hang in there until you don't give up on the career choice, but maybe just try another setting.
And let me say this, I totally agree with what you were saying. I would be out if I weren't allowed to build my own program either. Is it that you're with an administrator that doesn't know any differently? And is it a situation where when you've got a principal that maybe doesn't know what the counselor does, sometimes you just have to train that puppy to know what you do. So is it a principal that is open, maybe they're putting you in that rotation or not giving you that autonomy because that's what has never been done before. It's always been done this way. Are they open to the conversation of you having that autonomy?
That's yeah. All things to think about and consider. It's a lot, and
Yeah.
it's just a decision only that person can make, but that's just some thoughts.
Yeah. Before we lose good counselors, though, I would implore you to, if nothing else, just try a different location. And then if you still
Yes.
hate it, then maybe go a different route. But it breaks my heart to lose good counselors. Okay, what do I do if I have been asked to help with attendance incentives?
Oh,
Yeah,
well, congratulations.
that's what I think too. Like, you have been given on a silver platter your outcome goal for the year.
Absolutely, and obviously you're seen as a leader if you're asked to be helped with incentives,
What a good way to frame it. Yes.
and, I would take that job and use it. Here's the deal, this is a great way to get involved with the data of attendance, because attendance tells us so much. You can go back through the years, or and generally, I have found the ones who are your 25 plus days or 18 plus days have been that same people for years. So has anybody ever stopped to maybe have the conversation with the parents, or to talk to see what might be needed to help this family get on the right track, or do they know the importance, or whatever. So I don't know. This, of course, is not your whole ball of wax, but if you've been asked to do that, Laura is the queen of great incentives, and that's a great place to talk with your team, or how much money are you going to be able to spend on incentives. You don't have to spend any money on sometimes it's just the recognition.
Yeah.
uh
And I had an administrator kind of reframe this for me one time because I was focused on, okay, let's pull these chronically absent ones into a small group, which I still stand by. And we have a small group, an attendance small group that is out on Teachers Pay Teachers. So I still stand by that, looking at the data and figuring out who would benefit from this. But this administrator said, yes, do that. But also, what if you gave them a job to do first thing in the morning? And I thought about it for a second. And so this administrator went further and said, like, maybe helping you put the flag up every morning, or maybe helping you out on car line as a greeter or something like that. And, call home, make that contact with the parent and say, hey, we need some extra hands on deck. It's not a punishment, don't make it sound like a punishment, but we were thinking that your child has such a sweet smile and would be such a great greeter in the mornings. They will need to be here at 7:15. Can you start helping them get here at 7:15? Now, of course, that scenario would not work for everybody, but it may just catch you one or two, and that will make improvements in those few. It's worth a shot.
Absolutely.
Okay. What do I do if I have been asked to present to the staff?
Another congratulations.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So I know that some people may not see it that way, and some people hate getting in front of a group of coworkers, and I do think that's a lot, way more challenging than even getting up and speaking to strangers sometimes. But this means that, just like you said before, you are seen as a leader. So if you've been asked to do this, your administrator trusts you and trusts your message enough to allow you some time to speak to the staff. So I would say choose your topic wisely. The topic right now that I would land on, and I have a feeling, Kim, that you'll agree with me, is trauma and the effects of trauma on our students, because I know it's not just a local issue. I know that it's a national issue, and teachers may not know as much as we think they know sometimes about trauma and the effects that it has on behavior.
And it certainly explains a lot of students' behavior, and it certainly makes teachers think about that, the what they can do to help kind of deal with behavior maybe in a different way.
Yeah.
Another thing is use that teacher training time to tell about what your job is, because we always say if you don't tell the staff what you're doing, they're going to assume what you do.
Very good. And we do have a chapter about that in our book. So if the person that wrote in this question, if you don't have our book yet, I would highly recommend that you get that, if not for any other chapter, for our teacher training chapter, because we just kind of lay it out there for you, and I think make it really easy and make it understandable and help you realize the why this is valuable.
Shameless plug. I love it.
Yep. Okay. What do I do if I am at 2 schools and I feel like I am losing my mind?
Well, I've been there.
Yeah, I know you have.
And working both schools as hard as you can work them, which I loved both schools. I loved it. But of course, I had over 1,000, so I don't know what the numbers are there. But there was another person with me at the high school, but it was just too much trying to change gears from, how to divide my time up. This person, and I know we've read this question before, one school was very put together and organized, the other school not at all. And so she was really, I think more than anything, when you're at 2 different schools, you're dealing with 2 different cultures, 2 different administrators. I happen to have grade at both, but that's very difficult to try to figure out your place at both schools. So you really have to advocate. If you want to be at one school, either take a job that's one school or advocate to get with your time, which is what I did, to get at one school.
And I would say just practical tips, and I've never been in your situation of being at 2 schools, but I do know this question just got my brain working a little bit. Setting those boundaries. The person that wrote this question was saying that she'll be getting questions about 504s when it's her day at one of the schools, or at the other school. And so I think setting up your automatic replier so that it says something like, if it is Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm at school A. If it is Monday, or, just setting up your schedule so that they'll automatically know, hey, it's not my day to be at this school.
Yeah.
I'll handle it when I get back. You can also, depending on what email provider you have, you can set up, make it automated so that if you get an email from the staff at school A, it can automatically go into school A folder. And if you get emails from school B, it can automatically go into school B. So that may help you, maybe you could just keep school A folder open the days that you're at school A, and those others will just automatically go into that folder. Those are just the practical thoughts that come to my mind on, just because I know she had specifically mentioned the email was just flooding her inbox and she couldn't keep her mind straight when she was at one school when she was getting questions about things at the other school.
Yeah, I remember one of the hardest things for me was the keeping up with, and so you have to really have yourself together. Everything had to be more organized as far as what I had to do when I walked in the door at this school, because it was a high school. It's completely different from a K-8 school. So being more organized and like you were just talking about the separate files. I mean, everything just had to, and back then I didn't have the assertiveness I have now, not aggression, but assertiveness. So I would take on anything and everything. And I really look back and I feel sorry for that person that I was, because I felt like I had to do everything for everybody, and that was just too much to be at two schools. You can't. You just have to realize I can't be the same kind of counselor at one school if I'm at two. And you have to decide, like you say, Laura, what am I willing to fail at? And because you're going to fail at something, so you really have to prioritize and then say no to the rest of the stuff. That's hard. Being at two schools is really hard when you want to do your best at both, because you can't be your best at two schools. So you do the best that you can and know what your limits are. Like you said, boundaries, but know your limits. I can't do more than this.
I feel like you deserve a survivor ribbon because you made it through.
I right now am having some trauma thinking about it, but I loved both. I mean, I absolutely would have been happy at either.
Yeah.
But it was just too much because I wanted to be perfect at both schools, and it just wasn't possible.
Yeah.
It's not possibly perfect at one, but at the time, that many years ago, 12 years ago, I thought I had to be. Yeah. You learn as you get older. You can't do everything. So you do what you can do and do it well.
Well, and it's our nature.
I think I know that, but we still get way too many balls in the air.
I wasn't going to say that for you, but yeah.
I do. Yes, I know I do.
Okay, this next one. What do I do if I'm in a situation where I need to document sexual harassment between students to teachers?
So are they documenting other students or sexually harassing teachers, or is it happening to them, or do you know?
I don't know, but I assumed it was happening to them.
Okay. Well, to begin with, I've seen that happen, being middle school, especially. I don't know that I even saw that in the high school, but I did see it in middle school with the students who would say inappropriate sexual things to a young teacher, especially, or a sub that's where I've seen it before. So that has to be, if it's just an offhand remark and it's happened, it just happened like one time. I think you hit it pretty hard, and you set that boundary of I'm the adult, and that was, it's not going to be tolerated. But I think if it's an out and out, this was an intentional sexual harassment, I think you definitely get your administrator involved, and you do document that and turn it in so that there's no question, and that student knows this is, you've gone to, you don't do those kinds of things. And it makes me wonder what else this student, if they're having trouble with that, there's an underlying issue there probably. So it may take a little bit, it's according to how bad it is. It may take a therapist, or it may take a little investigating to see if this is happening, why this is happening.
Yeah.
But it happens.
It happens. Okay. What do I do if I have been asked to deal with and come up with strategies for student behaviors? And just some background on this one. Student behaviors are increasing. You and I hear it everywhere we go. Everybody that we talk to is saying, what's the deal with behaviors? So this counselor, people are coming to her and constantly wanting strategies for various behaviors. So what would you do if you're asked to help with student behaviors?
Again, I think this does fall in a school counselor's wheelhouse, because we're that person who does do the data and the investigating, and all behavior is a story. That student's telling us a story, and it is, you may just be seeing the tip of the iceberg, but underneath there, generally in behavior, there's trauma, there's poverty, or there's both, or there's lack of parental supervision, there's a need. That's a story. So if we have you and I have started looking at behaviors as what is the story behind this behavior. And so I think that is a wonderful opportunity, and it's because it's so overwhelming. It's almost like all hands on deck. I don't think it's one of those things that we can say anymore. That's not my job. I think it is everybody's job. Teachers are saying it's not my job. Counselors are saying it's not my job. Administrators are saying none of my techniques work anymore. All the tricks that worked in the past for administrators, they don't work anymore. So it's a national crisis. It's been deemed that. The National Institute of Health is telling us that 61% of students have something that would fall under the behavior realm, whether that's anxiety or ADHD, whatever. Those are all on the rise. And I think everybody knows the various storms that all came together that kind of has escalated this to this point. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity to work side by side with other educators in what we're specialists at. And this is that collaboration piece. This is that advocacy piece. This is training piece that we as counselors are the best at. That doesn't mean that we don't use behavior specialists. That doesn't mean that, in fact, we are. We're going to use behavior specialists. We're going to use mental health therapists. We're going to use social workers. But let's be real. Those are few and far between, and they're harder to come by every day. But it's the teachers and the school counselors and administrators and the school staff who are in the trenches every day with this. So if we're not educated on student behaviors and trauma and the whys of student behavior, you need to be. And so I see it as part of what everybody's having to do now. And I see it as why people are walking away from education. So you either use it to break you or you use it to become more educated and see it as an opportunity to advocate and help our students.
Very well said.
It's a cry for help. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to say that this is how you know that we are truly in the trenches with you, because we do see these behaviors every single day, and we're kind of asking ourselves these same questions. Okay, what do I do with the student's behavior? And I think never before have we been in a situation where we have to think in an unconventional way about handling this student's behavior. I mean, I feel like we're doing out of the box thinking at my school. My principal and I brainstorm together every day, and she's a genius at coming up with strategies, and she's a whatever it takes kind of person. I hope that your administrator can be like, not yours, Kim, but our listeners, I hope that you have an administrator that will get down in there with you and do whatever it takes. Because I think that's where we are right now, is having to do that.
I think you either get on board or you do find yourself just ready to get out. And I think people are looking for answers. And this, today, my administrator and I were just talking. This has been such an incredibly hard year because we're working really hard to train ourselves and our staff more and more on behaviors. So we're reading everything that we can get. We're learning as much as we can get about the brain and how the brain works and what causes the brain to do some of the things that it's doing. We're dealing with dysregulated students, and it really has been all hands on deck because we've never seen students so dysregulated. Not all of them, of course, but just a few really dysregulated students can take up so much of your day. And what do I do? So we've worked really hard, but to understand it is powerful. So if the more you can, I see the helplessness from educators kind of diminish the more they understand it. So the knowledge is power. When now when we're dealing with these behaviors, which leads us to say, and I don't know if this is the time to say it or not. So you may
not
say,
yet, because I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to make sure that these students that you're having to work with on behavior, I would encourage you to make sure that they're on your RTI or MTSS list, and that you're documenting the behavior interventions that you're trying. And, try them for a couple of weeks. And if those things don't work, move to a different behavior intervention. But document these things so that if you need to refer out, and sometimes you do because that's part of our job, you will have the documentation and the data that shows this is what we've tried and this is what we need to do for the next step.
Absolutely.
But Kim, why don't you go ahead and dangle that carrot in front of...
Well, you help me with danglage, if that's a word, which I don't think it is. I just made it up. But we are going to do a behavior webinar, and we have talked to some of the top behavior people. We've had them on our podcast. There's folks we've not had on our podcast that are huge influencers and educators in understanding, for educators in understanding behaviors and why students may behave certain ways because of different trauma or the way, disabilities or brain for whatever. And so we're really excited to have knowledgeable people talk to us about what we can do as educators. So we want you to be thinking about setting aside that PD money or whatever that you may have, because we really want to bring in we are bringing in some of the top people that we have already had said, yes, we're going to be in this. So we're going to be giving more details about that, I'm sure, later.
Yes. And may I say that if you have a topic that you're very passionate about that maybe has to do with student behavior or the brain or strategies for student behavior, then we would like to encourage you to fill out a proposal form, submit that proposal to us, and maybe, just maybe, we will invite you to speak at this virtual conference. It'll be a pre-recorded session, so that means you can edit it and do as many takes as you want. But we would love to hear from counselors who are in the trenches with us and things that you're seeing and things that have worked for you.
Absolutely. So my battery is going dead. That means this is over, because this is all I have is this iPad now.
Okay. All right. Well, you can rate and review us wherever you listen to this podcast. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. And that's where we'll be sharing more information about this behavior conference. Send us a proposal, because we would love to hear what you have to say. So that's
all good things.
Okay.
Until next time.
Until next time.